Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems, and if you're new here, welcome for the very first time. And tonight's going to do a response video. I've seen a number of other people do this, and this is the 12 books I would save in an apocalypse, so stay tuned. Okay, I'm responding to videos I've watched from Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads, Pat from Book Chat with Pat, and also by Mark at Book Time with Elvis, who created this video. And you need to check out all three of these awesome channels. It's absolutely wonderful. Now, this was a video created by Mark after watching political thing in the White House, recent events. It was just absolutely terrible, awful, and yeah, in my opinion it just involved an absolute mugging of the character, and it was very hard to watch. Now, I don't get political on my channel, so I'm not going to go into details. I'm sure you know what happened there at the White House, but yeah, and at that time as well, the term World War III was kind of spoken about, which is kind of a problematic for me. And yeah, what Mark did is he took this and decided, he's going to create an idea for a video. Like, if something like that did happen, what kind of material things would he try to save? The first thing that came to mind is books. I think all of us would. And yeah, so that gave birth to this video. Books that I would save in an apocalypse. Okay, there were a couple of tough kind of parameters, rules created by Mark and Greg when they did their video, and I'm going to go through that. And yeah, I think they're kind of tough for me to follow, although I'm going to try my best. So I've only been on booktube for 2 years, and yeah, as you know, my channel, I talk mostly about horror, and their taste is far more eclectic. So yeah, first one is physical books only. No problem, that makes sense. Although a lot of my 5-star reads, a lot of books that I've really enjoyed in the 2 years since I've been here, have been kind of ebooks and on my Kindle. I don't really listen to audiobooks, but yeah. The second one is only books read since starting booktube. As I said, that's difficult. Been on for 2 years. You know, other booktubers have been on for like 4, 5, 6 years. They've got a lot more choice of favorite books to save, and so I'm going to cheat a little bit. And then third one, no books that are part of a series. This is also a very, very difficult one, because I just recently read a book that shot into my favorites, and that is Queen of Bedlam by Robert McCammon. Now yeah, I'm absolutely loving the series, and yeah, Matthew Corbett, sorry, and this book is just a masterpiece. I love this author so much, and I would have loved to save this particular book, second one in the series. Okay, there are a couple of criteria of my own for the books that I wanted to save. First of all of them definitely be worth a reread. All of them are valuable, not necessarily in terms of the cover, in terms of how spectacular it is. Well, one or two that are, but just in terms of personal value to me, kind of special significance. And yeah, as I said, all of them I'm going to reread someday. And also, it's not only horror, because even though it's a horror channel, if you're in the middle of an apocalypse, you kind of want to read a little bit of other stuff too. Maybe stuff that's a little bit more gentle at times, especially if there's mutants running around and dangerous creatures in a world that's been devastated. So some light reading is probably required. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the list. Let's start off with Nosferatu by Joe Hill. Just a wonderful, wonderful horror novel, and perfect book to read at Christmas time. And I plan to read for every Christmas. I plan to read this novel. Just a brilliant novel. with great characters. Vic McQueen is probably one of my favorite female protagonists in literature. And yeah, that's saying something. And okay, why am I taking it along? Well, in a post-apocalyptic world, holidays might no longer exist. And you want at least kind of one record of what Christmas should be all about. Although Christmas Land might not be the best record, but it's what I've got. And yeah, that's a wonderful horror novel, so that's the first one I'm saving. Okay, next up we got Joe Hill's Daddy, Stephen King, 11/22/63. Now, this is not a horror novel. This is a beautiful novel that is time travel, kind of science fiction elements, but it's a time travel, historical fiction, going back in time to the 50s, 60s, and it's just a gorgeous novel. It's got horror elements. It's even got a beautiful love story, which I don't normally like to read in my horror, or I don't enjoy love stories so much, but it's done so well in this book. It's just gorgeous. And yeah, it's about an English teacher, Drake Epping, and he moves back in time to prevent the assassination of JFK. And it's, yeah, as I said, it's a beautiful, beautiful novel. And even if you don't like horror, you know, I kind of highly, highly recommend this book. And it's perfect for taking with me, because I like books in a situation where everything is hopeless that kind of take you to better days. You know, being time travel, taking you back to a simpler time, that's just nice. You're sitting there behind the bunker or in some kind of makeshift camp where the world's gone to shit, and you read a story about kind of nostalgia, 50s, 60s. So yeah, 11/22/63. Okay, the third book is Ray Bradbury, The Illustrated Man. Now, I could not kind of go into an apocalypse without Ray Bradbury. His prose is so gorgeous. And yeah, this nice kind of blend of science fiction, horror elements. His writing is just so exquisite. And this is actually my favorite collection. And even though I haven't read it from cover to cover since before booktube, I did read a couple of the short stories in here, because I did a couple of videos on my favorite short stories, and some of them are from here. And now, yeah, it's my favorite collection. It's a 5-star, and the funny thing is, I don't think I've given any other short story collection that I've read 5 stars, because there always seems to be a couple of books, or more than a couple of books, kind of weak. I didn't find this in this collection. I love the stories in this collection. You know, you got the Rocket Man, which inspired Elton John, and yeah, you got the actual framing story of the Illustrated Man. There's this guy's covered in tattoos, and each of them tells a tale. They move around. I'm not going to go into detail, but yeah, absolutely have to save this book, The Illustrated Man. Okay, next up we got a book that is very, very close to my heart, and it's a YA horror, and it's Clive Barker, The Thief of Always. Now, even though, yeah, this is actually the graphic novel, but I used to own the book, but I'm absolutely fine taking the graphic novel with me. It'll be the only one of 2 on this list. The other one's not really a graphic novel, but books with graphics in them. Yeah. Okay, but this is YA, but it'll appeal to all ages. This is just magical, spectacular. And I want to read just the opening line of this book. Just give you an idea. It's just so gorgeous, so gorgeous. The great, it's very tiny font, so I'm pushing myself very close. The great grey beast February had eaten Harvey Swick alive, buried in the belly of that smothering month. He wondered if he would ever find his way out. Yeah, he's bored, it's raining. The great grey beast February. I love that. And yeah, as I say, this, if you haven't read The Thief of Always, get hold of the book. Graphic novel is pretty much the same, but yeah, get hold of the book. It's well worth it, even if you kind of don't like YA, or you think you don't. You're going to love this book. Thief of Always. Okay, everyone, now we've got another collection of short stories. Blue World by Robert McCammon. Now, yeah, I adore this cover. This was one of the first books I reviewed in 2023. And I think I only gave it 4 stars, but I'm dying to revisit it now that I've kind of know more McCammon, and just the idea that it's short stories, kind of perfect to take into Apocalypse. It's just a short little space of time that you need to read them. And there's a couple of actually terrifying stories in here. It's Yellow Jacket Summer, Doom City, and it's my favorite, the one story, not so much terrifying, but just beautiful. And that is Night Calls the Green Falcon. And it's about this older guy. And he used to play like a superhero in a TV series. And he's old now. And he's struggling, and he's living in this apartment. And there's a terrible murder next door. And he decides he's not going to stand for this. It's his friend that's murdered. And he gets into the suit again. It might be a bit tight for him. And he goes off to to basically make sure that there's justice. And that bad man is caught. And it's sweet. And it's kind of heartbreaking. And it's just a really fun story. So I recommend that. So I'm dying to read that again, and I'm dying to revisit Blue World. Okay, we're getting to a really nice, bleak, dark, post-apocalyptic novel, The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Now, yeah, this book moved me. It's very sad. It's got a very interesting kind of sentence structure to it as well. The dialogue and everything. And it's beautiful. And the only thing, I'm just going to do this properly here, the only thing in this dark, bleak, disturbing, unforgiving landscape that is even slightly beautiful is this man and boy, like a light in the darkness that can any moment can go out. And yeah, that's the way I saw this book. And as I said, it's sad, it's bleak, it's disturbing, but just kind of has this tiny little thing of optimism because of the relationship between this boy and not the father, kind of this boy and this man. But yeah, beautiful book, disturbing book. Will get you in the mood for where you are in an apocalypse. Okay, another book I would say for sure is The Terror by Dan Simmons. And this is another bleak, disturbing, harrowing monster of a book. Very dense, huge, like kind of attention to detail. And yeah, it's kind of retelling of the Franklin expedition that went badly wrong. And characters I found are really amazing. It just needs a bit of patience to get through. And it's not for everyone, that's for sure. But yeah, this was my book of 2023, and I absolutely loved it, and it deserves to come on the journey. And if there's a kind of nuclear winter, this book might be appropriate. Okay, time for a respite from all the bloody murder and mayhem. See what I did there, Jim? We got Joyland by Stephen King. Yeah, now this is a crime mystery stroke coming of age adventure. It's kind of got horror elements, and yeah, more like a thriller really. Why am I saving it? Because it is a beautiful, beautiful book, and in my opinion it's severely underrated by Stephen King fans, constant readers, and it's also got an amusement park. It's set in like an amusement park most of the time, and I love those. I love fun fairs, amusement park, clowns. Oof, did I just say clowns? Yeah, okay, but anyway, it's just a beautiful coming of age story, so it'll transport you back to better times, to the shithole that you are presently in an apocalypse, post-apocalyptic world. So it takes you back to your childhood and just better times, which is good for this sort of thing. Yeah, beautiful book, read it. Okay, this is the first of 3 big cheats on the parameters set by Greg and Mark. I did not read this as a booktuber. I read it a long time ago, but I don't care. It's probably my second favourite book of all time, and it's my favourite book in my collection, and that is Weave World by Clive Barker. Now, you have to love this cover. I mean, it is absolutely stunning. Oh, why would I save it besides that? It's just the prose is so gorgeous. Clive Barker is a wordsmith. Knows how to write. And he knows how to write beautiful characters, creatures, a thoroughly imaginative and immersive, the worlds he creates. I just want to read something, just give you an idea very quickly. Have to read it, sorry people. Okay, which part am I going to read there? I just could read anywhere, but okay. What happened next occupied mere seconds, but either his mind was lightning fast, or the moments played truant, for it seemed he had all the time he needed. Time to appreciate the startling intricacy of the design laid out beneath him. An awesome proliferation of exquisitely executed detail. Age had bled brightness from the colours of the weave, mellowing vermilion into rose, and cobalt to a chalky blue. And here and there the carpet had become threadbare, but from where Cull teetered, the effect was still overwhelming. Okay, I'm not going to go on. The prose of this man is just so stunning. People are beautiful. And yeah, this highly rated novel on Goodreads, give it a go. WeWorld. I mean, it's dark fantasy, it's not horror. It's one video where I go on and on about how you can't categorize these books by Clive Barker. Dark fantasy, horror, mixed up. But yeah, you have to kind of say it's dark fantasy. But there are strong horror elements to it. Okay, the next one is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Yeah, middle grade. 3 books to chill your bones by Alvin Schwartz and Stephen Gamble. Now there are 3 reasons why I'm taking this with me during an apocalypse. Number 1 is a gift from my beautiful wife, and it's a special gift. It's full of very special illustrations, which is number 2. Number 3, I had to think up. Now, in an apocalyptic event, electricity will fail. You're going to end up in maybe campsites with other survivors. Have to light a fire. And these stories are meant to be told around a campfire in the darkness. So I could entertain and amuse and lighten the mood with some scary stories to tell in the dark. At the same time, light a fire, sit around the fire to make sure that the monsters from post-apocalypse, like mutants, other people that want to kill you and eat you, that kind of thing. Right, so you can sit and make sure everyone is in a good mood. Tell some scary stories. Okay, and before I go into my top 2 cheats, I really want to give a special mention, and I hate doing this, people, to The Stand by Stephen King. But I'm not putting him on my list because of these 2 books. Others, maybe I should have. Probably at the last minute I'll just grab The Stand and run. Don't know where I'll put it, down the front of my pants where, but I'll take that book. But anyway, this book is essential reading for everyone. And it's, if I reread it, it might be number 2 of my favourite books of all time. And that is Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. Yet another McCammon. And yeah, this book is just utterly stunning. A masterpiece. And if you read it, it's going to take you back into time, to your childhood, and just make you relive moments. Like when you're riding your bike on the dirt road, your bike's your best friend, your dog's your best friend, and you go off and you come back when it's dark. Not to worry your parents, not too dark, but they don't worry about you. You just go off with your friends, do what you need to do, and it's a stunning, beautiful book. I know I've done this before, sorry people, but it's going to be a long video, but I'm going to read this poem at the front of the book. And it's not just for the boys, it's for the girls too, believe me. We ran like young wild furies, where angels feared to tread. The woods were dark and deep, before us demons fled. We checked cock bottle bottoms, remember that, to see how far was far. Our worlds of magic wonder were never reached by car. We loved our dogs like brothers, our bikes like rocket ships. We are going to the stars, to Mars, we've made round trips. We swung on vines like Tarzan and flashed Zorro's keen blade. We were James Bond in the Austin. We were Hercules unchained We looked upon the future, and we saw a distant land, where our folks were always ageless, and time was shifting sand. We filled our life with living, with grins, scabbed knees, and noise. In glass I see an older man, but this book's for the boys. Yeah, this is just a stunning book. It's a murder mystery, kind of, sort of, but its heart and soul is coming of age. And coming of age is probably my favourite thing. And I think the thing that would be most useful during apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic world, so you can go back in time when things were better. So yeah, if you haven't read this book, you're missing out. It's Boy's Life. And the cover, I don't care. I've tapped it up. This book is very special to me. Right. And yes, number one, my favourite book of all time has to be, I'm going to save it, Swan Song, also by Robert McCammon. And I'm going to tell you the biggest reason why. Because this will be the best survival manual you'll ever have in a world that's gone to shit. Ever. This is it. And also, it's just the best book ever. I read it when we were on holiday on the coast. Well, we're on the coast now, so it kind of makes sense. We're always on holiday. But we were on holiday for like a week, and it took me 2-3 days to finish this book, which is over, well, it's about 1,000 pages, like 900 pages. And yeah, it just blew me away, blew my wife away. It's well worth the read. And best characters ever, best story ever. And there's also some optimism here. It's not just outright horror. There's a good versus evil thing. You know, about to stand, still crying about that. Shove it down my pants, try and run away with that as a 13th book. This is beautiful. I just got to read it. And like I say, survival. If you want to survive, read this book. Okay everyone, so that's my crazy choice for tonight. Yeah, let me know if you read any of those books. What books would you save? What special books would you save during an apocalypse? I'd love to know, love to hear from you in the comments down below. Let me know, people. It's lovely chatting with you. And yeah, I'm going to tag other people down below. I'm not going to do it now. I haven't thought about it. Sorry, I don't do that anymore. But I will list some names of people that might want to do this. But yeah, take care of yourselves, people. Keep those pages turning, and cheers.